All right, y'all, welcome to the show. I got a special one for you today. I hope everybody's having a great day, but it will be a heavy show. So in just a second, Trump casually admits to major crimes on live TV, but knows there will be zero consequences for it, so feels perfectly comfortable just doing it. So we'll talk about that. We'll also get to the Young Republicans group chat that was leaked to Politico, which is just an absolute dumpster fire. It is a disaster. I mean, this story tells you so much about what's at the core of right-wing politics, and it is super duper ugly. So we'll get into that. We'll also give you updates on the fake ceasefire, the fake peace deal, which has already fallen apart in Israel and Gaza. Israel continues to violate it day after day, minute after minute. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll get to Obama versus Trump. He finally speaks out on Mark Maron's podcast and goes in. He also has some other moments that I find fascinating that we'll talk about. Then later on, we have the I've Had It podcast queens barbecuing Cory Booker to his face for selling out to AIPAC and for being a diet MAGA Democrat. And then also Trump's war on free speech has actually hit a bit of a snag because the media finally decided to fight back, at least in one respect. And that truly is interesting and incredible. So we'll dive into that as well. So you guys know the drill. Everybody please do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. It really spreads the videos around the algorithm. You can also support the show on Patreon. Thank you to everybody who does support the show on Patreon. This is real independent media, and we could not do it without you. $2 a month, $5 a month, $7 a month, whatever it may be. It makes a big, big difference. So thank you again to everybody who does that. If you don't, please consider it. That link is below. And you could also support Crystal, Kyle, and friends on Substack and see the full episodes that we do, the full interviews. That link is below as well. And of course, go subscribe to the Corin's World YouTube channel where we do live Kyle and Corin episodes every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a lot of fun there, and I'd love it if you guys were to join us. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it, y'all. So let's start with this. Trump was in front of the cameras quite a bit yesterday, and multiple moments were facepalm worthy, let's say. So let's start with this one. Here he is, casually, nonchalantly, trying to pretend like he's a better president than Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. Watch this.
She said I was the greatest president in her lifetime. Now, she's not that old, so I didn't consider it a great compliment, but I've had better.
Can we send her a hat?
Well, recently I've had the greatest president of them all. I like that much better.
Mr. President?
Does that include Washington and Lincoln? Yes, sir, it does. I said I like that person.
I want to take a shower when I hear him say stuff like that, man. I mean, that is like, ugh. The self-suck-off session. Does it hurt your ribs when you suck yourself off that hard, Mr. President? Is that what happens? Oh, my God. And it's the oldest trick in the book, right? He goes, many people are saying, I'm not saying this. I didn't just say this to pat myself on the back. Other people are saying, sir, he's full of shit. Whenever he starts a story by saying, they said to me, sir, they said, sir, you're better than George Washington. You're better than Abraham Lincoln. You're better than all of them combined. Some say you're better than the one and only Jesus Christ. I mean, this is, disgusting. All right, but now let's get into the meaty stuff here. Meaty just like his neckgina. Okay, so here he is. This is one of the times he casually admits to a major crime on live TV. Let's watch.
So it's a little bit like that with, if you take a look at Argentina, if the president doesn't win, I know the person that he'd be running against, I believe, probably. We probably have the person. A person is extremely far left and a philosophy that got Argentina into this problem in the first place.
That is a total lie. Argentina is where it is because of Javier Milei and anarcho-capitalist libertarianism. That's why it is where it is. That's why inflation is so high. That's why poverty is so high. That's why the government was cut to the bone. That's why people are struggling massively. Just such bullshit to blame the left. It's literally Javier Milei in there now working on his second fucking bailout. And somehow he doesn't get blamed for the policies that led directly to this. And somehow the left is to blame. It's unbelievable the way these people contort themselves into fucking pretzels to try to, no matter what, blame the left and give the right credit.
So we would not be generous with Argentina if that happened. If he loses, we are not going to be generous with Argentina.
If he loses, we are not going to be generous with Argentina. Are you out of your fucking mind? Not only is that foreign election interference, this is also extortion. He's literally extorting them on live TV. Like, what? In fact, I was like, this is so wild. Let me submit this video to AI and just ask, what crimes is Trump potentially committing here? Give me a list of the potential crimes he's committing. They spit back at me like 10 different things. They were like, it's extortion, it's bribery, it's misuse of federal funds, it's a violation of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, it's abuse of power, it's conspiracy to interfere in foreign elections, it's a violation of international law and various treaties. This, guys, all within the context of, what was it? Not even a 30-second clip. He commits 7 different crimes? Unbelievable. And I'm still not even done yet. Let me give you more. So now we have this one. Now, this one's not a crime, but this is another facepalm-worthy moment. This is at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. There's another one where they're basically giving him the Medal of Freedom, right? The highest civilian honor that we have. Which, by the way, Trump hands these things out like fucking Skittles, okay? I mean, you want to talk about... It's just like with the Nobel Peace Prize now, how they've totally... I mean, it's an embarrassment. It's a joke. Like, I would feel sickened if I was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, given all of the failures of the people that they gave it to. They gave it to some fucking warmongering Venezuelan opposition person who dedicated it to Trump, right? Who literally wants Netanyahu to do regime change in Venezuela, like do another illegal war. So it's a joke of a thing. But the same thing with the Medal of Freedom. It's like, really? This is how much we've cheapened it? It means dick now because of who you're choosing. But anyway, this is the part where Trump low-key sort of brags that I dodged my bullet. Charlie didn't dodge his. Watch this.
Federal law enforcement fired sniper rifles at ICE agents and me, But I made a turn at a good time. I turned to the right. Charlie couldn't believe it, actually. He said, how the hell did you make that turn? I said, I don't know.
Some of us know. Some of us know how to save ourselves. Some of us know how to dodge the bullet. Some of us don't, though. What is wrong with this man? Seriously, what is wrong with this man? This is wild. All right. So now, let's go to another one. This is another, I think this is casually admitting to violating the Impoundment and Control Act. Watch this.
Of all police, I mean, how can a policeman? He hates Jewish people.
He's talking about Zoran Mamdani. Of course he says this, even though the majority of Jews in New York voted for him. The majority of Jews. Just because he's pro-Palestinian liberation and freedom doesn't mean he hates Jews. This is such a vile, disgusting smear from a guy who's bought and owned by Miriam Adelson and AIPAC and Netanyahu, and he's on the fucking Epstein files, and Epstein was Mossad.
Yet he's got Jewish people supporting, hates Jewish people. So it comes through the White House. The funding for New York and for every place comes through the White House. And I'm very generous, and I was always very generous with New York, even when you had opposition.
He makes it seem like, it's up to me if I want to release the funds. No, it's not. We have this thing called Congress, and they pass something, you sign it, it's law, it's over, it's done. That's the end of it, right? That's it. There is no line item veto that the president has where he says, release the money for Oklahoma, but hold the money back for New York and Massachusetts. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. So here he is acting like, I'm so magnanimous. I'm so nice. I'm very kind with the funds. It's not up to you to determine what the fuck to do with the funds. Brazenly bragging about violating the Impoundment Control Act. Watch.
New York, even when you had opposition there, but I was always very generous. But I wouldn't be generous to a communist, a guy that's going to take the money and throw it out the window, because you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're not going to let somebody get into office and squander the taxpayer money from this country. We're not going to let it happen.
First of all, he's not a communist. Second of all, it's literally not up to you. Third of all, why would you punish random New Yorkers who may or may not have voted for Zoran because you don't like Zoran's policies? Again, because it's extortion. It's coercion. He's trying to say, vote for who I want or else. Vote for who I want or else. It is absolutely positively fucking disgusting. And by the way, you're going to hear me start talking about this a lot more. We need to start having serious discussions about a national divorce. Because I got to be honest with you, I'm thinking about it more and more lately. Because what the fuck do the blue states get out of this exactly? What do the blue states get out of this? We are net taxpayers to the federal government, so we pay more than we get back. We're subsidizing the red states, and then in return, what do we get? ICE Gestapo thugs and the National Guard and the military invading our cities when we don't fucking want them there and ruining the lives of normal people who are just trying to work their jobs and fucking, help their families out and take care of business. I mean, seriously, what are we getting out of this? And by the way, also, it's not even like we have equal representation. With the Electoral College, it's very clear that everything's biased in favor of red America, right? Wyoming gets 2 senators. I don't even think they have 1 million people that live in Wyoming. California's got like 40 fucking million people that live there, and they get 2 senators, right? I mean, this is, it's kind of a joke at this point. It's kind of a joke. It's like, if this is a marriage, this is a fucking marriage where one side is an abusive, alcoholic gaslighter, and the other side is just a good person trying their best, and we're getting fucking abused on a daily basis. Why would we stay in this arrangement? Why would we stay in it? And I mean that seriously. I mean that sincerely. It's something we got to start thinking about, man. Because you could easily have it so that this country gets broken up. You could have, basically the red states of America and the blue states of America, and let them have, hey, you guys want to have unlimited guns. You guys want to have zero Medicare, zero Medicaid, zero Social Security. Have at it. Go right ahead. But you know what? If we were to separate, the fact of the matter is, within 10 years, maybe even within 5 years, if the blue states were on their own, we would have universal health care. We would have universal college. We would have unions and higher wages. We would have basically like a Scandinavian system, right? Like a beautiful Scandinavian system where everybody's happy, everybody's healthy. But no, they're holding us back. Literally, they are holding us back. Red America is holding us back from living better lives, more fruitful lives. All right, I'm still not done. Let's continue. Here we go. Now more on Argentina, and this triggered the shit out of me.
And what's the benefit for United States in helping this way Argentina?
Just helping a great philosophy take over a great country. Argentina is one of the most beautiful countries that I've ever seen. And we want to see it succeed. Very simple. I mean, we don't have to do it. It's not going to make a big difference for our country, but it will in terms of South America. If Argentina does well, you're going to have others following, and a lot of others are following. You have countries in South America that 2 years ago would have never even been thought of to go as democracies or as just countries that want to do fair and balanced trading. And now you mentioned Bolivia, but there are numerous other countries that are coming our way.
So he said, we want a great philosophy to take over a great country. That's why we're bailing out Argentina. Well, if it was a great philosophy, why does he need a bailout? He's on his second fucking bailout. People are dumpster diving for food. If it's a great philosophy, we wouldn't be in this position now, would we? And by the way, $20 billion sent to Argentina at the exact same time these motherfuckers kick 17 million Americans off their Medicaid, and they're about to double, or in some cases quadruple, or in some cases quintuple the premiums for people's health care by getting rid of the Obamacare subsidies. Nah, man, this is not going to go over well, dog. This is not going to go over. Then meanwhile, Javier Milei is out there doing a fucking rock concert at the same time he's about to get his second bailout, and poverty is sky high, inflation is sky high, unemployment is sky high. Like, if the right was correct, Javier Milei would have went in there and he would have made all of his reforms, and then now we'd be in a utopia in Argentina, right? It would be unemployment would have plummeted, and poverty would have plummeted, and inflation would have plummeted, and everything would be hunky-dory, and that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Like, it turns out their ideas in practice suck balls. Always have, always will. Meanwhile, our ideas in practice lead to what? Like I said, if you look at the, self-report studies on happiness, it's always the Scandinavian countries that are top of the food chain there. And the reason is they have social democracies. They have a thriving social safety net. People make great wages, get a lot of paid time off, have healthcare taken care of, college taken care of. So our ideas in practice make people happy and healthy. Their ideas in practice lead to begging for multiple fucking bailouts. So go ahead. Keep sending more money to fucking Argentina as more people go homeless in this country. And more people are struggling in this country. Let me know how that works out for you in the midterms. But the fact of the matter is they're going to try to fucking rig the midterms anyway. All right. And then finally, we'll end with this one. What am I going to do with this, bro? Honestly, what am I going to do with this? So this is the way now that Trump and Republicans talk about Democrats, liberals, and leftists. And remember, he's the president of the United States. He's like other presidents at least used to try or pretend to do the whole like, hey, it's not about red America or blue America. It's about the United States of America. We care about all of our people equally. And, I represent all of you. No, listen to what he says. Watch this.
Nothing could have ever supplanted this. It's incredible the way people are talking about him. And with great love. I mean, I read so many stories about some of the enemies, but I watch the enemies and it's hard for them to speak badly about him because they just don't. And then you do have people in the days since Charlie's killing. We've seen exactly why our country so dearly needed his example. We've watched legions of far-left radicals resort to desperate acts of violence and terror because they know...
There have been 3 MAGA terror attacks since Charlie Kirk's killing. Let me repeat that. 3 MAGA terror attacks. 3.
That their ideas and arguments are persuading no one. They know that they're failing. They have the devil's ideology, and they're failing, and they know it. They feel it, and they become violent. They seem to become very violent on the left. They've rammed vehicles into federal law enforcement, fired sniper rifles at ICE agents.
That was not a lefty. Oh, my God.
Me, but I made a turn at a good time.
And we already showed that part, but Jesus Christ, man. They have the devil's ideology. They seem to be very violent on the left. Says the guy who's currently illegally bombing Venezuelan fishing boats on like a fucking weekly basis. Says the guy who illegally bombed Iran. Says the guy who illegally bombed Somalia and Yemen. Says the guy who illegally increased drone strikes over 400% in his first term. That guy. The guy who's arming and funding a genocide and just sat there and watched Netanyahu violate his fucking fake peace deal. This guy is going to say, the left is violent. The left is violent. The guy who's invading the United States of America with the United States military, the guy who signed a pro-torture executive order, wants to lecture you about your violence on the left and how you have the devil's ideology. Well, how is it the devil's ideology to want the number one infrastructure in the world, which I, as a leftist, want? How is it the devil's ideology to want to end corruption and have clean elections? How is it the devil's ideology to want to end the wars and get universal health care and a higher minimum wage and a 4-day work week and eliminate medical debt and social security for all? Explain that to me. Explain that to me. Now, meanwhile, this to me sounds like the devil's ideology. First of all, bombing all the countries Trump is illegally bombing, right? Not abiding by international law by any stretch of the imagination. Threatening Mexico, threatening fucking Canada and Greenland and Panama. I mean, you're hard-pressed to find a country he didn't fucking threaten in his second term, right? But here's a guy who also killed the increase in overtime pay that Biden did for millions of workers. He killed the $15 minimum wage that Biden did for federal contractors and employees. That means he cut wages for 400,000 Americans. He opposes the PRO Act and a minimum wage increase. He destroyed the NLRB with anti-union labor picks, making the lives of working people way, way worse. He destroyed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is basically like the corporate cops to make sure that big financial institutions don't rob you. He outsourced hundreds of thousands of factory jobs in his first and second term. His tax bill raised taxes on the bottom 90% and cut it for the billionaires and the wealthy. He cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. In his first term alone, over 2 million people lost their health care. So tell me again about the devil's ideology, you fucking bloated war criminal pig prick. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm just so sick of this shit. I'm so sick of it. Like, as I said, okay, let all the cards out on the table, right? I know what you think of us. You fucking hate us. You think we have the devil's ideology. You think we're evil. You think we're unsalvageable. You think, we're stupid. Like, we're simultaneously like weak pussy ass bitches, but also violent, scary Antifa terrorists. It doesn't even make sense, but it doesn't have to make sense. They just think we're everything bad ever. Okay, great. Well, guess what? We think the same fucking thing about you. And the difference is we're right. Now, I've always said, look, I fucking hate these people, but I also want them to have health care. I also want them to make a good wage. I also want them to live a decent life. I just want to have nothing to fucking do with them. So again, I come full circle and back to what I was talking about earlier. It's time to start talking about a national divorce, bro. It really is. Like, I can't fucking stomach this shit. The likelihood of us getting the policies that we want are 1 trillion times better if we do it on our own, right? If we break this country up into 2 countries, the red states of America, the blue states of America, we could workshop the names and make them better. But you get the point. I mean, stop and think about it. Barack Obama decided, let me do a right-wing healthcare plan, which was created by the Heritage Foundation. It's called an individual mandate system, where they expanded Medicaid, but then they also said, we're going to mandate everybody who doesn't have healthcare already you need to go to a private insurance company and you have to pay to get insurance, right? And to be fair, tens of millions of people got healthcare, which is better than nothing. But like, so more people got covered. It was originally a conservative idea that he took, and they still accused him of being a Marxist communist who wants to murder your grandma and set up death panels, right? Meanwhile, the real death panels are the private health insurance companies. But this is what they said. So if they can't even accept an idea that objectively helped people and it came from their philosophy, if they can't even accept that, how the fuck do you think they're going to react if somebody like me were to get in there and actually do single-payer Medicare for all? Cover everybody, but save everybody money. They would still, the entire time, they would be fucking kicking and screaming, stop making my life better. I hate you. Stop. I want somebody who's going to make my life worse. Bring Trump back. Like, this is what they would do. So that's why I'm past it. I'm over it. I'm done. Like, I'm done with these people, and they're done with us, and that's fine. So let's fucking separate. But the difference is, if we actually were to separate, just like the abusive alcoholic ex, the gaslighter, they would be crying and whining and bitching and moaning because they want somebody to shit on. They want somebody to hate. They want somebody to be the villain, right? Whereas us, if we were to separate, oh my God, we would be fucking, we'd be partying. We would be fucking ecstatic. I hate having to deal with these people. They actually secretly like bashing us on a daily basis. I'd rather not. I'd rather actually build something positive for the future. But that requires getting the fuck away from these clowns. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.